Hey everyone, this is Amanda from Devotion in Action, and we are here on December the 6th in Micah chapter 5 verse 2, and I've got this gnome with the city of Bethlehem behind him. I'm going to use the large size on this. I kind of wanted to save... Okay, I'm going to be real honest with you guys. So I did this already in my other Bible. I did the whole thing. And then I put the files on my computer and they were corrupted. And so I don't have the whole first 3/4 of the video. So I'm redoing it. And I really don't want to use the big space across from this page. And so I'm doing it on the words, since this will be the second of the same thing I've just got in 2 different Bibles. Ugh. Sometimes technology is wonderful and sometimes it's super frustrating. But here we are in Micah 5:2, and we've got that city of Bethlehem behind the gnome. And our focus verse is, "But you, O Bethlehem Ephrathah, maybe? Who are too little to be among the clans of Judah. From you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose coming forth is from of old, from ancient days." It's really interesting to me that when the wise men followed the star to find the Christ child, they met with King Herod. And they told him, look, we saw this amazing astronomical event in the sky, this star, and we looked through all the ancient writings, and we found this prophecy about the new king of the Jews that would be born. And so we wanted to come and find him. Can you tell us where to find the new king of the Jews that's shown by the star? And Herod was not super happy. But so this is in Matthew chapter 2, verses 3-6. It says, "When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. And they told him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet, And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." So they reference kind of this prophecy that is recorded in Micah chapter 5, verse 2. And they knew, this is where he's supposed to be. And I think it's interesting, why didn't they just go there? I guess it was they have this caravan. They're used to dealing with wealthy and powerful people. So I guess they go to King Herod first. But I thought that was interesting. You would think they'd go right there if they knew where he's supposed to be. But Jesus wasn't born in Bethlehem because his parents already lived there. God knew the amazing series of events that would bring Joseph and Mary to this little town in Judea to be counted for the census right at the moment when it was time for Jesus to be delivered. And so he told his prophets in advance, in ancient times, where they would be. They were in the right place at the right time. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. I'm sure Mary was not excited about traveling when she was so pregnant. And Joseph was probably stressed out at the thought of his wife having to make that journey in her condition. And it seemed inconvenient and troublesome and stressful and a problem. And how can we get out of this, kind of that kind of moment here. However, sometimes it seems to me that what seems like so much trouble and so inconvenient and so stressful and not at all what we want is actually God directing our steps and getting us to the right place at the right time. So as I was watercoloring this image and choosing the browns and the grays and the golden tones for Bethlehem and this little gnome here, I was thinking about how there are so many times in my life where something happens or I don't get something that I wanted, and And I'm like, I don't understand, God. How come? This doesn't make any sense. Wah, 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 you know, like, and I mean, sometimes it's really serious and it's a big struggle. Like it's a large loss or a major problem. And it feels like everything is wrong, you know, with the way that things are turning out in life. And granted, we live in an imperfect world. Only heaven is perfect. So as we go through life here on earth, there are going to be bad things that happen that God does not cause them to happen. But I think sometimes the things that we think we want, God protects us from getting them. And sometimes the things that we think we want to avoid, that are inconvenient or stressful or troublesome to us, God allows specifically to move us forward to the right place and the right time for what He has planned for us, for the miracle, for the amazing thing that's going to make a difference in the rest of the course of our lives. So it will be in the right place at the right time for what He has planned. And so I'm going to just challenge all of us, me included. I'm challenging myself to be looking at things like we've been talking about the last few days from God's perspective, and trying to see where He may be moving us into position for a mission rather than giving us what we thought we wanted. So our action step for today is to pray and ask God to direct our steps. Let's ask Him to show us when we're viewing His orchestrations as inconveniences and problems, to really reveal that to us. Like, when are the times when our attitude about something is not in line with what He has planned, right? And take a few moments today to think about how we are thinking about the struggles in our lives. Let's ask for God to give us His perspective on our current stresses, troubles, disappointments, unfulfilled hopes, that kind of thing. And let's look for what God is doing in the middle of our inconvenience. Because sometimes He's doing a major work and we miss the miracle because we're so focused on the inconvenience or the struggle or the problem or, you know, how it makes us feel. So that's my challenge today, to look for what God is doing in the middle of the struggle. As we are painting the city behind, I hope you're noticing that I'm putting down a lighter color, right? And then coming along with a darker tone or more saturated paintbrush, less water in the paintbrush along the edges, in the tops of those kind of circular buildings back there, and along the edges, wherever it seems like there'd be a major shadow cast, or where it would round away from the eye line of the viewer from our perspective, and then kind of blending that in to where there's lighter in the middle and darker on the edges. They turn away from our eye line. Where there'd be a shadow, it's darker. So, and I'm using different tones of golds and browns and grays to do this city of Bethlehem, just because that kind of differentiates these places. You could just do like a monotone kind of gray outline, like it's shadowy village behind him. Or you could go with all golden colors. I've seen some cities of Bethlehem where everything is done in kind of a sandy golden color, which would work too. I like the changes in color there. So I chose 4 colors, a golden, a richer kind of reddish brown, a darker traditional brown, and then a gray for my buildings. And on my other one version of this, I made red clothes for the gnome. So this time I'm going to try it in green. I'm like, might as well play around with the colors a little bit since I'm having to do this again. And I'll tell you, I actually like how this one came out better. I like the green better than the red. Maybe in the comments on the Facebook page I'll post my other version of this as well, because I do have pictures of it. I just don't have all of the video. That's why I had to redo the video part on this when those files corrupted. So just kind of grabbing that green. And then I'm also going to grab like a yellowish green to highlight some of this green in the clothing. And I like that as well. I like having a different tone in there. The darker green is going to go underneath kind of the edge of his beard, on the edges of the hat where it would turn away from you to create dimension. And that really adds quite a bit to the look of the watercoloring the clothes. Is where it would crease, like where the wrinkles are in the clothes, it would be darker. So on that. And then I'm just using kind of a bluish blue-gray color for that trim on the hat. And again, darker on the edges, especially the bottom edge where the shadow would be cast, and lighter in the middle and toward the upper part of that rim of the head. And then just kind of evening that out a little bit just to blend it in. It doesn't look as bad as it looked in person on camera, but those lines were pretty sharp. And they really stood out as like sharp edges in the lines instead of blending together. So just taking some water and blending that together. And some little black shoes he's got on here. Going to darken those, and especially on the bottom edge, and bring in some black on those, and maybe underneath the edge of his beard, and then blend that in just so that we get a little bit better dimension on those shoes as well. And then the ground didn't feel weighty enough to me. I wanted to add a little bit of gravitas, I guess, to the surface that he's standing on. So getting a darker color in there, and really wanted to see a lot of all of those 4 different colors in that ground area. So putting all of those in there, and then taking kind of a slightly wet brush and blending them together. And I really like how that grounds him and makes him feel like he's really standing on a solid surface. Gonna mix up a dark blue-gray that also has some purples and some greens in it, and wash this page. So I'm starting out light, but you're gonna see it get a lot darker. And I'm noticing as I'm doing the sky that I forgot to do the star. So we'll have to come back and add in the star after I've got this background painted on the back of this page. And I don't want to run out of time, so I'm gonna pray with you guys, and then we'll finish up talking about the art in this one. Dear God, we can't see the big picture like you can. We only have our own perspective, and we come from the viewpoint of a temporal, earthly perspective. We can't see your eternal perspective from our view, from our place of viewing our lives and this world. But we ask you to help us to gain your perspective as we experience trouble, inconvenience, and stress, and help us to cooperate with you in that moment. Help us to get on board with what you're doing and to see the mission in the middle of the mess that you are leading us toward, that you're getting us in the right place at the right time for. Help us even to see the miracle in what you are doing in our lives, and help us to be grateful. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And I don't want this background to be monochromatic either. So I don't want it to, or I don't know, monotonal. I don't know how you say that, but I don't want it to just be like a flat one shade all the way through everything. So getting it darker kind of on the bottom, and then it lightens up as it goes up toward the top of the page a little bit, although not as much as it is currently because I'm going to add more paint back there. And just kind of also dotting some places and adding in just different tones of this, where it's lighter in some places, darker in some places, and it doesn't look quite so flat and like it's only one, like a light dark value, one value on this page. It kind of ran down and pooled in between the pages, so just drying that. And this page is wet, so wet. So I'm gonna have to hit that with a heat gun to dry it. I am going to use some of my shimmery Kuretake Gansai Tambi Starry Collection paints on this. I wanted to do his beard in this silver color, and I'm thinking maybe even add some highlights of the one just next to it too. We'll see if maybe I decide to do that, but the page is so wet, I'm gonna go ahead and get it a little bit drier here. It's pretty soaked. It doesn't matter. I did not prep this page, and it did not, even with like soaking the page, and it is like, so like it is very wet. You can't see through it. It didn't bleed through it. Watercolors are great that way. They just are, the Bible pages stand up to them really, really well. I know that it is possible to go through the page with them, but it doesn't happen very often. Because I had a lot of water on this page. So there you go. I forgot the star. So we're going to come back in, and I grabbed the wrong pen. This pen doesn't have a lot of ink in it. And so I was having trouble making the little lines to go out from the stars, and so I had to add a few extra little lines out because they were not being very cooperative. And then add in a little bit of golden yellow in the center of this, and then I want to use the metallics on this as well. Spread that golden out a little bit. It's hard to see on camera, but you can see it on the page. And my favorite gold there, I'm obviously going to run out of that one first because that's my go-to gold, is the one that's second from the end there. Adding some of that in. I got a little heavy-handed with it, so I'm adding a bit of water back into that. To spread it around and be able to move it on the star. And then I'm going to put some paper down here to mask off the gnome and to mask off the empty page beside it, so that I can make some sparkles on this page with the light color of his beard and with my gold color of the star. So it's hard to see on the page, but I've got the sparkles of both kinds and really like it. It turned out really nice. I was happy with this page. Actually like it better than the first attempt. So, happy accident that the that the files did not render properly or whatever, and that that data was corrupted, because I like how this turned out in the end. So we're gonna look for the good in the middle of the mess and the inconvenience and the trouble, right? That's what we're doing. That's our action step today. So a little bit more of this metallic, and I'm adding some of that light color to highlight the star, and just adding just a few touches on his hat so it kind of catches the light and reflects. You don't have to do that, but I just think it's kind of fun. And this is basically this page. I got to write @Devo in Action, which is my call sign on Instagram and Facebook. If you haven't already liked those and followed them, I would love to have you do that. And #DIA, as in Devotion in Action, Gnomes. That's the hashtag for this study. And the date for today. And as kind of a title along the edge, I'm going to put "O Bethlehem ... and then darken those downward strokes in each letter. And that's basically this entry for today. I hope you'll share your pics and your thoughts, your comments about the devotional and about this art on the Facebook or the Facebook page or on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching.